Hold on. Before you even think about scrolling away, let me ask you a question that might just change how you see everything. Do you honestly believe that being a good person keeps you safe? That your kindness is a shield? That your generosity builds unshakable loyalty? And that your honesty will automatically earn you respect? If you're nodding along thinking, yeah, of course, then you need to listen closely. You've been sold the single most dangerous lie our society tells. The biggest mistake most of us make is thinking that being good means being safe. But here's the brutal, unfiltered truth. Blind goodness is like gasoline. You think you're fueling your relationships, your career, and your dreams, but you're actually just setting them up to go up in flames. This isn't some hot new take. A guy named Niccolo Machiavelli figured this out 500 years ago. He was a political strategist who saw it all firsthand. He watched good, kind, honorable leaders get absolutely crushed. He saw generous rulers get betrayed by the very people they showered with gifts. And he took notes. He wrote it all down. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on his forbidden secrets, the shocking, hidden cost of goodness that no one ever talks about. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover why your goodness is actually your biggest vulnerability, why people don't respect your kindness. They see it as an opportunity to exploit. And most importantly, you'll learn how to flip the script, how to transform your goodness from your greatest weakness into your most devastatingly effective weapon. But let's get one thing straight. I'm not telling you to become a monster. I'm not asking you to go out and hurt people. I'm showing you how to be good strategically, not blindly. Because let's be real, in a world of wolves, being a sheep is a death sentence. You just get eaten. So right now, I want you to go down to the comments and type this affirmation. I choose strategic goodness. This is your declaration. From this moment on, everything changes. No more blind goodness, only strategic goodness. In this video, we're going to rip apart the myth that goodness protects you. We'll see how it often destroys you, and then we'll forge it into a source of real, undeniable power. Let's dive right into the first shocking truth. Goodness is exposure. Think about the kindest, most decent person you know. Got them in your head? Okay, now be honest with yourself. Are they truly respected? Or are they just the person everyone calls when they need a favor, a last-minute babysitter, or someone to cover their shift? The truth is, being consistently good doesn't make you secure, it makes you a target. When you're always kind, always agreeable, people stop seeing you as a person and start seeing you as a utility. You become predictable. They know you won't put up a fight. They know you'll have a hard time saying no. They know they can push your boundaries because you're too nice to push back. Before you know it, you're the office doormat everyone dumps their extra work on. You're the friend who always ends up paying for the whole table. You're the family member who sacrifices your own weekend to help someone move, again, even when it's burning you out. I knew a guy once, let's call him David. Best team manager I ever met. He shielded his team from corporate nonsense, he covered for their mistakes, he always put their needs before his own. A truly good guy. Guess what happened when the big promotion came up? They skipped right over him. You know why? Because his bosses didn't see a leader, they saw a servant. His goodness didn't signal strength, it signaled submissiveness. People don't respect blind goodness. They use it. Think about it. When help is always available, it loses its value. When boundaries are never enforced, they cease to exist. When you never show your teeth, people assume you're toothless. Your goodness becomes your biggest weakness because it's a giant, flashing sign to the world that says, you can take advantage of me. Machiavelli put it perfectly. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. For too long, you've been trying to navigate a world of foxes and wolves by acting like a sheep. And that's exactly why you keep getting hurt. It's time to change that. Go to the comments and type, "I protect my energy."
All right, let's move on to number 2, the generosity trap. This one is going to sting a little because it feels completely backward, but here it is. The more you give, the less people appreciate it. I know, it sounds insane. Just hang with me for a second. When you're generous, you get this short-term hit of applause. People praise you, they tell you how wonderful you are, and it feels good, right? But underneath the surface, over time, something toxic starts to grow. Your generosity doesn't breed loyalty, it breeds dependency, then entitlement, and finally, resentment. Here's how it works. You help someone once, they're genuinely grateful. You help them a second time, they're still thankful. But by the 10th time, your help is no longer a gift, it's an expectation. Your incredible kindness has just become their new normal. And the moment you stop, the one time you say no, they don't remember the 9 times you said yes. They only fixate on the one time you refused. Suddenly, you're the selfish one. You're the bad guy. We see this play out with parents who give their kids everything they ask for. The first new gaming console is met with screams of joy. By the 5th one, it's just expected. And if mom and dad ever say, "Sorry, not this time," the kids throw a fit, calling them unfair. It's the same in friendships. You're the one who always picks up the tab, who is always the designated driver, who always volunteers to help. At first, you're a hero, but slowly, the thank yous fade away. It's just assumed you'll handle it. And God forbid you ask for a favor in return, suddenly everyone is swamped. This is the generosity trap. You give and give until your identity is the giver. And the second you need to receive, or even just take a break from giving, you become the villain in a story where you were supposed to be the hero. Your constant giving doesn't build loyalty, it builds an addiction. People get addicted to your help, and like any addict, they lash out when you cut off their supply. There's a real psychological principle behind this called hedonic adaptation. It just means we humans get used to good things incredibly fast. What was once amazing becomes our baseline. What felt generous becomes expected. So your repeated acts of kindness start to lose their impact. They become invisible. But your one act of refusal, that stands out like a fire alarm. That's what they remember. That's what they complain about to their friends. This is everywhere. At work, if you're the person who always stays late, it just becomes the new standard. Leave on time for once, and suddenly you're a slacker. In a relationship, if you always compromise, it becomes the expectation. Stand your ground one time, and you're being difficult. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. He wrote that benefits ought to be conferred gradually, for in that way they will taste better. The man understood a core principle of human nature. Scarcity creates value. Abundance destroys it. Let that sink in. Then go to the comments and type, "I give strategically." Okay, number 3, the mask of virtue. Now this truth might make you a little uncomfortable, but you need to hear it. Society doesn't run on reality. It runs on appearances. People don't really care if you're a good person deep down. They care if you look like a good person. They don't judge your heart, they judge your image. What this means is that to hold on to your power and respect, you have to learn to wear the mask of goodness while managing the reality of control beneath the surface. Look at the most powerful and successful people you know. Do you honestly think they got to the top by being genuinely sweet and accommodating to every single person? Of course not. They got there by being incredibly smart about when, where, and to whom they showed their goodness. They'll give a charming speech in public and make a ruthless but necessary decision in private. They'll show mercy when it sends a powerful message and show unyielding strength when it's required. They get it. The appearance of virtue is often more powerful than virtue itself. Now, this isn't about being a two-faced liar. This is about being strategic. Think of it like this. A surgeon has to cut you open with a scalpel to save your life. Is the surgeon being cruel? No, they're doing what needs to be done, even if it causes pain in the short term for a long-term good. Real leaders understand this. They know that sometimes being a truly good leader means looking like the bad guy for a little while. Sometimes the most helpful thing you can do for someone is to say no. Sometimes protecting your team means making a decision that some of them won't like. The mask of virtue isn't about deception. It's about timing. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about knowing when to show your warm, empathetic side and when to show you have a spine of steel. Most people get this completely backward. They show their vulnerabilities to their enemies and try to act tough with their friends and family. Strategic people do the exact opposite. Machiavelli wrote that everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. He knew that perception is reality. If people perceive you as a pushover, you will be treated like one. If they perceive you as someone who is kind but firm, you will be respected. It's all about the image you project. It's time to take control of that image. Drop this in the comments below. I control my image.
4. The economics of power. Let's talk about something most good people refuse to think about. The cold, hard math of life. Number 4. The economics of power. Every single thing you do has a cost. Every favor you grant. Every time you say yes when your gut is screaming no. Every hour you spend solving someone else's problems instead of building your own future, it all comes out of your personal bank account. Not your money account, but your account of time, energy, and focus. Most kind-hearted people never track these expenses. They give and give and give, writing emotional checks to everyone around them, until one day they look up and realize their own account is completely empty. And that's when they wonder why they feel so exhausted, so resentful, and so completely taken for granted. Here's the fundamental truth you need to internalize. Your time, your energy, and your resources are finite. They will run out. When you spend them on others, you have less for yourself. This isn't a selfish thought, it's a mathematical reality. Unlimited kindness leads directly to personal bankruptcy. And when you're emotionally and physically drained, you can't help anyone, least of all yourself. You know the safety instructions on an airplane. They always tell you to put on your own oxygen mask first before helping others. Why? It's not because they want you to be selfish. It's because if you pass out from lack of oxygen while trying to be a hero for the person next to you, now you're both in trouble. Now 2 people need rescuing instead of 1. Life works the exact same way. If you burn yourself out trying to be everyone else's savior, you don't end up a hero. You just become another casualty, a burden instead of an asset. Smart, effective people understand this. They guard their energy and resources with the same focus a security guard protects a bank vault. This doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you sustainable. I had to learn this lesson the hard way. For years, I was the yes man. Every request for help, Every quick question that turned into a 3-hour brainstorming session, I said yes. I thought I was being a good friend, a good colleague. But you know what really happened? A slow, creeping resentment started to build inside me. I felt angry and bitter. My own projects stalled. My own dreams got put on the back burner. And the ultimate irony? I became less capable of helping the people who genuinely needed and deserved my help. That's when it hit me like a ton of bricks. Saying yes to everyone else is just a slow way of saying no to yourself. And when you abandon yourself, you eventually have nothing left to offer anyone. The most truly generous people in history weren't the ones who said yes to every little thing. They were the ones who said no to almost everything, so that they could deliver a powerful, world-changing yes to the things that truly mattered. Machiavelli said, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." And you can't command respect from others if you can't even command your own time and energy. You can't lead anyone if you can't first lead yourself. It's time to take back control. Head to the comments and declare it. I protect my resources. 5. The strategic use of virtue. So if you're guarding your resources, does that mean you have to become a cold, heartless person? Absolutely not. This brings us to the most important shift in mindset. Number 5, the strategic use of virtue. I'm not telling you to throw away mercy, honesty, and generosity. I'm telling you to start treating them like a surgeon's tools, to be used with precision at the right time to achieve a specific, powerful effect. Think about it. A sword hanging on a wall is just a piece of metal. It protects no one. But that same sword, in the hands of a skilled warrior at the decisive moment, can save an entire kingdom. Your goodness should work the same way. When you offer help, it should be a deliberate act, not a default reaction. When you show mercy, it should be a strategic decision, not a sign of weakness. When you are generous, it should be designed to create the outcome you desire. Let me give you a practical example. Instead of trying to help 20 people with 20 small problems, find 1 or 2 people you truly believe in and help them in a way that fundamentally changes their life. Instead of being vaguely nice to everyone you meet, be exceptionally and memorably kind to the people who are central to your life and goals. Instead of saying yes to every little request, learn to say a powerful, committed yes only to the things that align with your grand vision. This approach achieves 3 critical things. First, your help instantly becomes more valuable because it's rare. Second, you create a much bigger positive impact because your energy is focused, not scattered. And third, people respect you more because they see that your kindness is a choice, not a compulsion. Look at the most respected figures in history. Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't just nice to injustice. He confronted it with focused, strategic power. Mother Teresa didn't try to solve all the world's problems. She focused her immense compassion with laser-like intensity on the poorest of the poor in Calcutta. They were undeniably good people, but they were strategically good. They used their virtue as a force to create massive change, not as a cheap tactic to be liked by everyone. So how do you apply this in your own life? From now on, before you agree to any request, you run it through a simple 3-question filter. Does this align with my core values and long-term goals? Can I do this fully and excellently without depleting myself? Will this act be genuinely appreciated and respected, or is it just enabling someone? If the answer to any of these is no, you don't just refuse. You say no kindly but firmly. But when you do say yes, when a request passes all three filters, you go all in. You give your absolute best. You create real, tangible value. You make a difference that people will never forget. This way, your yes has weight. Your help is remembered. Your generosity builds true loyalty, not just entitlement. Machiavelli once wrote, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." What he meant was that true integrity sometimes requires you to re-evaluate your commitments. Sometimes being good to your family means having to say no to a coworker. Sometimes protecting your own dream means disappointing someone who wants to use up your time. Strategic virtue isn't about being selfish, it's about being effective. Go to the comments and type this now. I choose effective kindness.
All right, prepare yourself for this next one, because it might just change how you view every relationship you have. Number 6, the illusion of gratitude. Here's a hard truth that most people spend their entire lives trying to ignore. Gratitude has an expiration date. I know that hurts to hear, but it's the God-honest truth. The favors you do, the help you give, the sacrifices you make, they all have a half-life in people's memories, and it's a lot shorter than you think. Repeated favors don't feel like gifts anymore. Over time, they transform into obligations. What starts with a heartfelt, "Oh my God, thank you so much," eventually becomes, "You should do this for me," and finally devolves into, "Why didn't you do this for me?" Let's use the classic example. You help your neighbor move a couch. They are incredibly grateful, buy you a pizza, the whole 9 yards. 6 months later, they're moving again. You help. They're still thankful, but maybe it's a little less enthusiastic. A year later, a third move. Now, they just text you the date and time, assuming you'll be there. The fourth time, they don't even ask. They just expect it. And if for some reason you can't make it, who's the bad guy? You are. This isn't because your neighbor is an evil person. This is just raw, unfiltered human psychology. We adapt. We take good treatment for granted. We recalibrate our expectations. Exceptional kindness, when delivered consistently, simply becomes the new normal. In the end, people don't remember the kindness you showed them. They remember the advantage they gained from it. This pattern is everywhere, in our jobs, our friendships, our families. The person who always says yes becomes the person everyone expects to say yes. The reliable helper becomes the default solution for everyone else's emergencies. And the moment that person finally puts up a boundary, they're treated like a traitor. The more consistently kind you are, the less your kindness is seen. The more you make yourself available, the less valuable your time becomes. The more you give without ever asking for anything, the more people assume your giving costs you nothing. This is the illusion of gratitude. We think that piling on more good deeds will earn us more appreciation. But in reality, it often does the opposite. It breeds complacency. The people who value you the most are often the ones you help strategically and infrequently. The people who take you for granted
are almost always the ones you help the most. Understanding this doesn't mean you stop helping people. It means you become less predictable. You set boundaries. You sometimes make your help conditional. You occasionally let people experience your absence so they can fully appreciate your presence. As Machiavelli observed, men judge more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. People see what you are doing for them right now far more clearly than they remember the mountain of things you did for them in the past. Your history of kindness becomes invisible. Your present actions are all they judge you on. It's time to make your actions count. Go to the comments and write, "I create lasting impact."
Okay, let's talk about the world's most brutal and honest scoreboard. Number 7, results over intentions. You can have the purest heart in the world. Your intentions can be solid gold. But if your actions don't produce the results you want, the universe gives you 0 points. History doesn't build monuments to people who meant well. It remembers the people who got things done. Let me ask you a blunt question. How would you rather be remembered? As someone who was incredibly nice, but ultimately ineffective? Or as someone who might have been seen as tough at times, but who actually left the world a better place than they found it? Most people instinctively shy away from the second option because it feels uncomfortable. But here's the secret they never realize. Being remembered as just nice is the same as being forgotten completely. There's a brutal but undeniable truth at the heart of all great achievements. Sometimes being truly good means doing things that don't look good in the moment. Surface-level kindness often creates temporary comfort, but it's the tough decisions that create lasting, positive change. Think about it. A parent who disciplines their child isn't being mean. They are being a good parent by teaching them boundaries and consequences. A teacher who gives tough but fair grades isn't being cruel. They are being a good teacher by preparing students for the harsh realities of a competitive world. A boss who holds their team to incredibly high standards isn't being unreasonable. They are being a good boss by pushing their people to discover a strength they never knew they had. Real goodness is measured in outcomes, not appearances. It's about creating positive results, not just generating positive feelings. This is the exact point where most good people stumble and fall. They get obsessed with being liked instead of being effective. They choose the comfort of the status quo over the messy, difficult work of growth. They pick temporary peace over lasting progress. But the hard truth is, if your goodness isn't getting the results you want, you're not being good enough. You're just being nice, and nice is not the same thing. Nice people avoid conflict. Good people resolve it. Nice people tell you what you want to hear. Good people tell you what you need to hear. Nice people keep things as they are. Good people are brave enough to change them for the better. The world is already overflowing with nice people who accomplish nothing of substance. What this world desperately needs is more good people who get results. Machiavelli famously wrote, "The end justifies the means." Now, people twist this to mean you should do evil things for a good cause. That's not it. The real meaning is a powerful warning. Your good intentions mean absolutely nothing if they don't lead to good results. People don't live inside your heart. They live with the consequences of your actions. So from now on, remember this. Real goodness requires courage. It requires you to prioritize outcomes over your own comfort.
It demands that you stop asking, will this make them like me? And start asking, will this actually make things better? Because at the end of the day, people won't remember your intentions. They'll remember what you built, what you changed, and the legacy you left behind. Get in the comments and commit to it. I focus on outcomes.
This brings us to the final and most important piece of the puzzle. Number 8, legacy and survival. Let's talk about the grand finale, the ultimate game. What you will leave behind. History does not honor the merely good. It honors those who survived, who endured, and who were strong enough to turn their vision into a reality that outlasted them. Think about this for a second. Can you, right now, name 5 people from history who are famous simply for being nice? It's tough, right? But I bet you can instantly name 5 people who created monumental change, even if they weren't always pleasant to be around. Steve Jobs was famously not a nice boss. He was demanding, obsessive, and notoriously difficult. But he created tools that fundamentally reshaped how billions of us live, work, and connect. I'm not telling you to be a jerk. I am telling you that being remembered for making a difference is infinitely better than being forgotten for being agreeable. Here is the secret to legacy that most people miss. You cannot leave a positive mark on the world if you do not survive long enough to make one. And survival in business, in relationships, in life, requires a hell of a lot more than just goodness. It requires intelligence, strategy, and yes, sometimes a little bit of toughness. The kindest people in the world can't help anyone if they get financially or emotionally crushed by those who prey on them. The most generous people can't give anything if they give it all away too early and leave themselves with nothing. The most honest people can't speak truth to power if they get silenced and cast aside by those who prefer comfortable lies. You have to survive first, then you can thrive, and only then can you build the legacy you dream of. This means protecting yourself so you can protect others. It means building yourself up so you can lift others up. It means getting strong so you can fight for the weak. This isn't selfish, it's the ultimate act of strategic service. It's not cruel, it's careful. It's not about abandoning your goodness, it's about building a fortress around it so it can actually make a real difference in the world. The people who create lasting, positive change are not pushovers. They are not people pleasers. They are not afraid to say no, to set hard boundaries, and to make the difficult calls. They understand that being good isn't about being weak. It's about being powerful enough to choose goodness when it matters most. Machiavelli's most infamous advice was, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." What he really meant is that respect matters more than affection. Impact matters more than popularity. Results matter more than feelings. You don't have to choose between being good and being strong. You should aim to be both. But if you are forced to choose strength first. Because strength gives you the platform to be good on your terms. Weakness, even with the best intentions in the world, just makes you a victim. We have covered a massive amount of ground today. But let me boil it all down to the single most important lesson I can leave you with. Goodness without strategy is the most dangerous trap you will ever fall into. It will leave you vulnerable to the wolves. It will drain your resources until you have nothing left to give. It will create a prison of expectations you can never escape. And ultimately, it will stop you from making the very impact you were born to make. But goodness with strategy, that becomes your superpower. That becomes a weapon of influence and survival, a tool for creating real, lasting change. It becomes the foundation of a legacy that actually matters.
You now know the shocking cost of blind goodness. You understand the generosity trap, the illusion of gratitude, and why good intentions are worthless without good results. But, more importantly, you now have the keys. You know how to turn your greatest weakness into your most formidable strength. How to be kind strategically, how to help effectively, how to create outcomes that echo through time. Before you click away, I want you to make a conscious decision right here, right now. Are you going to continue being good in the old way, blindly, without boundaries, until it breaks you? Or are you ready to start being good in the new way, strategically, powerfully, and effectively? So, here's the real question that will define your future. Will you let goodness weaken you, or will you master it and turn it into power? The choice is yours, but for the first time, you have the knowledge to choose wisely. If this video opened your eyes and shattered an old belief, show some love and hit that like button. If you want more truth that challenges the way you see the world, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And if you know someone who is too good for their own good, who needs to hear this message, share this video with them. Your goodness is not your weakness. When used strategically, it becomes your greatest strength. Drop this final affirmation in the comments as a promise to yourself. I master strategic goodness. Remember, in a world of wolves, don't be a sheep. Be the shepherd. Be the one who protects the flock, not through weakness, but through wisdom, strategy, and strength. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.